All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here talking about real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. All right, Chicago, in the quarantine, doing You're the Inspiration. My rating of it, I've been struggling with their new singer for quite some time. I kind of warmed up to him a little bit on tour last year. I thought he was doing a good job, but this quarantine video, I started again to miss the tenor sound, that specific, trying to be a little bit like Peter Cetera tenor sound that they had with three vocalists, essentially. Jeff Coffey, who is the guy who most recently left the group, Jason Sheff, who also left the group not too long before that, and of course, the legendary Peter Cetera, who really, even Robert Lamb said that nobody could really replace Peter, that nobody could sound like Peter, and he was 100% right. By the way, there is Robert Lamb in this. He is in this particular video. He wasn't in another video that they had done recently. Robert Lamb will be 76 years old on October 13th. So the question begs, will this group be performing live ever again, say post-COVID or however you want to look at this? Are they going to be out there on the road risking their health? Because again, this thing tends to affect older folks a little bit more, and you've got your three core guys in this group are older, and I'm thinking, yeah, Chicago can continue on if those three guys decide to call it a career. But it would have to be an enthusiastic sort of start over from the ground up kind of a thing. Maybe you keep a couple of these guys. Maybe you keep the guitarist and the keyboard player. In this case, it would be Lou Pardini and Keith Howland. Maybe you keep them and then build a new band around that. Find a bass player again who can sing the tenor, so you don't have to have a singer and a bass player. You can just have a bass player who sings. And then, you still got Lou to do all of the parts that Bill Champlin used to sing or Terry Kath used to sing. I'm really thinking the horn section, I hate to be mean, but the horn section can be replaced with new horn players. And then you got Robert Lamb, who's a little bit irreplaceable, but he would be the linchpin. If he decided to call it a career, I think you would open the doors for like a brand new Chicago. And quite honestly, you have a band over in Russia called Leonid and Friends that really, for my YouTube money, if I'm just going to watch videos, I can watch that band all day long. Granted, there are a couple of guys in the group that don't exactly sound like, the old Chicago singers, but they make up for it with sheer enthusiasm, energy. And Leonid, that guy has a real passion for deeper album tracks and things that Chicago... I'm not saying they can't play that stuff, but Chicago is keeping it simple. They're keeping with their ability, I guess, to just satisfy the more casual fans, whereas the diehard Chicago fans are really interested in a band like Leonid because they're playing things that this current band doesn't play. And American audiences, you would think they would be interested in hearing some of the tracks that didn't get radio airplay, because Chicago, again, they have this huge body of work, and a lot of it doesn't see, the light of day. But in any event, it's very interesting because we now have to start to think that some of these groups may decide to say this is not worth us doing. They'll try to reschedule gigs maybe for 2021. If that doesn't go off so well, then I can't see a band like Chicago, who really can't wait around for too long. They've got to keep busy. They've got to keep at this. especially a guy like Robert Lamb, who really has kind of a secondary role in this group. And he's kind of been that way since the 1980s, where yes, he's got some 70s radio hits that he'll still sing, notably Beginnings and Saturday in the Park, but for the most part after that, it's the guy like Neil Donnell who's got to carry the load with vocals, and occasionally Lou Pardini, but for the most part, this is a band that's geared toward that singer. I know they didn't design it to be that way in the beginning, but this is kind of their legacy now. These guys have nothing left to prove. They've toured more than any other band, for crying out loud. And they're, they've done videos, 5-10 years ago where they've been talking about how, they might as well just be up on stage when it ends and they'll just all keel over at the same time. I'm pretty sure Chicago doesn't want to do that. And I'm sure they probably want to be healthy and happy for a long period of time. It would be better, I think, if this band wasn't the Road Warrior band and did maybe, 30 or 40 dates a year, and maybe worked on an occasional new song here or there to put out to people. But I think they should kind of change up their approach. I don't think they can be the same Road Warriors they once were unless, the three older guys decide to say, okay, we're all going to leave at the same time. The band, if Robert left, you'd have a couple of songs that would need to be sung. Maybe Lou Pardini can do it. Maybe even Lee Loughnane can do it. I don't know. Those guys both can sing. Of course, Pardini is a great singer, but it's weird. It's weird. Listening to this version of the band, it's good. It's as good as any Chicago tribute, but it lacks that energy and force that this band had up until very recently, probably right up until Jeff Coffey decided that he didn't want to be in the group anymore. Maybe these guys are all getting along great, and this is a long-term lineup, and it won't really matter. And they'll all just continue until 2030. Maybe they'll call it quits in 10 years. I don't know. I can't imagine that these guys want to be Road Warriors into their late 70s and 80s, but you never know. B.B. King did it, and there are others that Ringo Starr just turned 80, and I'm sure he'd be out on tour with the All-Star Band. Charlie Daniels made it until he was 83, and he was still out there performing all the time. We shall see, folks. It's just kind of sad. If you haven't checked out Leonid and Friends, please do it. You will not be disappointed. All right, I am done with this video. Thank you for watching. Chicago, the band. Will they survive? That is the big question. See you soon.